let me ask you something. Before you bought your last car, you probably test drove it, right? Maybe you had a mechanic look it over. You wanted to know, before you committed, whether it could handle the road ahead. But here's what most people never do with their retirement plan. They never test drive it. They never put it under any pressure. They just hope it holds up. And hope is not a strategy. Today, I'm going to show you 5 specific stress tests you should run on your retirement income plan. The same ones I run for my clients. So you know whether your plan is truly built to last or whether it's just built to look good on paper. Let's get into it. Here's the problem with most retirement income plans. They're built on a best case scenario. The market cooperates, inflation stays low, you stay healthy, and everything lines up perfectly for 25 or 30 years. Now, I don't know about you, but I can't think of a single 25-year period in history where everything went according to plan. Markets crash, inflation spikes, health issues happen. And the tough reality is this. In retirement, financial mistakes are much harder to recover from than they are during your working years. You don't have a paycheck coming in to bail you out. That's exactly why stress testing matters. A stress test doesn't assume everything goes right. It asks, what happens when things go wrong? And does your plan survive? So let's run those tests right now. Stress test number 1, the market crash test. Here's the question. What happens to your retirement if the market drops 30 to 40% in the first 3 years of retirement? This isn't a far-fetched scenario. We saw it in 2000. We saw it in 2008. We saw sharp drops in 2020. Markets correct, and they don't ask for permission first. Now, a market crash during your working years, that's painful, but you can recover. You're still contributing. You have time on your side. But a market crash in the early years of retirement, that's a completely different animal. It's called sequence of returns risk, and it means that the timing of a downturn matters just as much as the size of it. If you're pulling income out of a shrinking portfolio, you're locking in losses, and you may never fully recover. So here's what to ask yourself. If the market dropped by 1/3 tomorrow, does my income stop? Does my lifestyle change? Or do I have a guaranteed income floor that keeps paying me no matter what the market does? If you can't answer that with confidence, your plan has a gap. Stress test number 2, the inflation test. Here's a simple but eye-opening question. What does your income look like 10 years from now in terms of what it actually buys? Let's use a real example. Say you're bringing in $5,000 a month when you retire. That feels comfortable today. But if inflation averages just 4% a year, which is not unusual, and we've seen it get much higher, that same $5,000 a month only has the purchasing power of about $3,400 a month 10 years later. You didn't get a pay cut, but inflation gave you one anyway. Now ask yourself, is my income growing over time? Is it keeping pace with rising costs? Or is it flat? Or worse, is it slowly shrinking in real terms? A truly stress-tested plan accounts for inflation from day one. You need income sources that have the potential to grow, not just income that looks good at the starting line. Stress test number 3, the longevity test. This one might be the most underestimated risk of all, and that's the risk of living a long time. Most people actually underestimate how long they'll live. If you're 65 years old and in reasonably good health, there's a very real chance you'll live to your late 80s or even 90s. And if you're married, the odds are even higher that one of you will reach 90 or beyond. So here's the question. Does your income plan have an expiration date? If you're drawing down a savings account or a portfolio, eventually that account runs out. And if you're 87 years old and your money runs dry, you don't get a do-over. That's why guaranteed lifetime income is such a critical piece of a stress-tested retirement plan. We're talking about income that is contractually guaranteed to keep coming every single month for as long as you live, no matter how long that is. You can't outlive it, period. That's not just a nice feature for a lot of people. That's the foundation the entire retirement rests on. Stress test number 4, the healthcare and long-term care test. Let me paint a picture for you. You and your spouse have built a solid retirement plan. Income is covered. Savings look good. And then one of you has a health event that requires extended care. Maybe it's a stroke. Maybe it's Alzheimer's. Maybe it's simply the reality of aging. The average cost of a private room in a nursing home is well over $9,000 a month in many parts of the country. Home care, which most people prefer, can run $4,000 to $6,000 a month or more. And the average long-term care event lasts 2 to 3 years, sometimes much longer. Now here's the question. Where does that money come from? If the answer is, we'll just pay out of pocket, okay, but have you actually run the numbers? Have you looked at what 3 to 5 years of long-term care costs would do to your portfolio and your surviving spouse's income? A stress-tested plan has a specific answer for this, whether that's a long-term care insurance policy, a hybrid life or annuity product with a chronic illness rider, or a dedicated reserve strategy. There needs to be a plan, because without one, a long-term care event doesn't just affect the person receiving care. It can financially devastate the spouse left behind. Stress test number 5, the Social Security and tax test. This is one that a lot of retirees never see coming, and it catches people completely off guard. Here's the reality. Up to 85% of your Social Security benefit can be subject to federal income tax. Not because of anything you did wrong, but simply because of how your other income is structured in retirement. The IRS uses something called provisional income to determine how much of your Social Security is taxable. And if your combined income from pensions, withdrawals, dividends, and other sources crosses certain thresholds, you could be handing a significant chunk of your Social Security right back to the government. And then there's IRMAA, the income-related monthly adjustment amount. That's the Medicare surcharge that kicks in when your income in retirement exceeds certain levels. We're talking about hundreds of dollars per month in additional Medicare Part B and Part D premiums on top of what everyone else pays. So here's the question. Has anyone actually modeled your income in retirement and shown you how much of your Social Security will be taxable? Has anyone looked at your projected modified AGI, your modified adjusted gross income, and shown you whether you're at risk for IRMAA surcharges? If not, that's a gap. And it's a very fixable one with the right strategy. Things like strategic income sequencing, Roth conversions done at the right time, and careful planning around when you claim Social Security can make a meaningful difference in what you actually keep. And here's a bonus stress test, one that most people never think about until it's too late. I call it the survivor test. And the question is simply this. If your spouse passes away first, does your income hold? This matters more than most couples realize. When one spouse passes, household expenses don't often drop by nearly as much as people expect. But income can drop dramatically, especially if both spouses were receiving Social Security. the smaller of the two benefits goes away. A pension might reduce or disappear entirely. This is sometimes called the widow's penalty, and it's one of the most financially devastating things that can happen in retirement, and one of the least planned for. A stress-tested plan has been modeled both ways, as a two-income household and as a single-income household, and it should have enough guaranteed survivor-friendly income built in so that whoever is left behind is never forced to choose between paying the bills and maintaining their dignity. So let's bring this all together. We just ran 6 stress tests on your retirement income plan. Number 1, the market crash test. Does your income survive a downturn in the early years of retirement? Number 2, the inflation test. Does your income keep pace with rising costs over time? Number 3, the longevity test. Is your income guaranteed to last as long as you do, no matter how long that is? Number 4, the healthcare and long-term care test. Is there a real funded plan if one of you needs extended care? Number 5, the Social Security and tax test. Are you paying more in taxes and Medicare premiums than you have to? And the bonus, the survivor test. Does your plan hold up for whoever is left behind? If you went through that list and found yourself thinking, I'm not sure, or we've never actually looked at that, you're not alone. The majority of people I talk to have never had all of these examined together in one place. And it's not their fault. Most financial professionals focus on accumulation, building their portfolio. Very few specialize in the distribution phase, making sure that income actually lasts. If you're within 5 to 10 years of retirement, or you're already there, take a look at the free booklet called Retire Smart. It's linked on the page in the description box. And if this video gave you something to think about, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone you know who's getting close to retirement. I'm Shonda Prescott, and this is Retirement Security Simplified, where we specialize in turning confusion into confidence, one conversation at a time.